Nationalism, racism, fascism, and patriotism are related concepts, but they have distinct meanings and implications. Here are the similarities and differences between them. Nationalism. Nationalism is a sentiment or ideology that promotes the interests, unity, and independence of a particular nation or group of people who share a common identity, history, culture, or language. Nationalism emphasizes loyalty, pride, and devotion to one's nation and often involves a sense of superiority or exceptionalism. It can be either positive, focusing on cultural preservation and self-determination, or negative, leading to aggressive or exclusionary behavior towards other nations. Racism. Racism is the belief that some races are inherently superior or inferior to others, leading to discrimination, prejudice, and the denial of equal rights based on race. It is a system of power and privilege that oppresses and marginalizes individuals or groups based on their racial or ethnic background. Racism is rooted in prejudice and stereotypes and can lead to systemic and institutionalized discrimination. Fascism. Fascism is an authoritarian and nationalist political ideology that emerged in the early 20th century. It advocates for a centralized, dictatorial government led by a single leader, strict control over society and the economy, suppression of dissent, and the use of force to maintain order and national unity. Fascism promotes an ultranationalistic and often racist or xenophobic agenda, seeking to create a homogeneous society and eliminate perceived threats to the nation. Patriotism. Patriotism refers to the love, devotion, and loyalty towards one's country. It involves a deep attachment to the values, traditions, and symbols of the nation and a willingness to defend and support its interests. Patriotism can be expressed through acts of civic responsibility, such as voting or serving in the military, and it often involves a sense of pride in one's country's achievements. Unlike nationalism, patriotism does not necessarily imply a belief in superiority over other nations. Similarities. Group identity. Nationalism, racism, fascism, and patriotism all involve a sense of belonging to a particular group or nation. Loyalty. They all emphasize loyalty and attachment to a specific cause, whether it's a nation or a race. Emotion-based. These concepts often elicit strong emotions and can shape people's behavior and attitudes. Differences. Ideological foundations. Nationalism and patriotism focus on the nation and its interests, while racism is based on beliefs about racial superiority or inferiority, and fascism is a specific political ideology advocating for authoritarian rule. Inclusivity. Patriotism can be inclusive and respect other nations, while nationalism, racism, and fascism can lead to exclusionary or hostile attitudes towards other groups. Political implications. Fascism is a political ideology that seeks to establish an authoritarian regime, whereas nationalism and patriotism can be compatible with various political systems. Racism's focus. Racism centers on the belief in racial hierarchies and discrimination based on race, whereas nationalism and patriotism are broader concepts that encompass cultural, historical, and political dimensions. It's important to note that while patriotism can be a positive force, nationalism, racism, and fascism have often been associated with discrimination, oppression, and conflict throughout history. Understanding these distinctions can help foster inclusive societies that promote equality and respect for all individuals.